So, is it just me, or does it kind of feel like Dead by Daylight, playing the Survivor in Dead by Daylight is just an act of futility? How's it going? Welcome to my channel, Lord Pog Gaming, and I'm Pog. Let's get the usual stuff out of the way here. If you like what I do, like, share, and subscribe. I do appreciate it. It does help my channel grow. I've got a few subscribers. If I could, I don't know, if I could get 10 subscribers, that would be good. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying here with trying to beg you guys for subscription. What is wrong with... So, Dead by Daylight. That is a pretty fun game. I personally like to play the Survivor. I don't know. I know there's a lot of people who like to play the Killer. Me, I like to play the Survivor, maybe because I'm a glutton for pain, and I like to lose all the time at everything I do. Before I get too deep into it and my experiences with it, let's get the good stuff out of the way, or the technical stuff out of the way. Dead by Daylight is an asymmetric multiplayer survival horror online game developed by Canadian studio Behavior Interactive. It is a 1 versus 4 game in which one player takes on the role of a savage killer, and the other 4 players, the other 4, what am I can't even read anymore. What did I go to school for? The other 4 play as survivors. The killer must catch each survivor and sacrifice them to a malevolent force known as the Entity by impaling them on hooks, while the survivors must avoid being caught and fix the 5 generators to power up the exit gates. Yep. The game was released for Windows in 2016, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in 2017, Switch in 2019, and Android, iOS, PlayStation 5, Stadia, and Xbox Series XS in 2020. Yep, developers Behavior Interactive, publishers Behavior Interactive, and a list of directors, producers, programmers, artists, writers, composers. It's on the Unreal Engine 4, if any of you care. So, here's my thing. I like playing the Survivor. I do. I like playing the Survivors. I like the odds being stacked against me, and I know for a while there was some kind of controversy that the game leaned more towards favoring the survivors over the killer, but I mean, that's just ludicrous. That is a ludicrous thought. Anybody who thought that a game like that favors the survivors more than the killer, I mean, I know with the controversy when Freddy Krueger first came out, when they first released Freddy Krueger, which is an interesting thing, this game has original characters, like original killers that you can play, but it also does feature prominent characters from famous franchises, such as like Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. You can play the Shape, or you can be Laurie Strode as the survivor. It's pretty cool. If I honestly believe if Friday the 13th, that its survival horror game hadn't come out with a similar premise, you'd see Jason Voorhees in this game by now. But because Friday the 13th already came out with a similar style game, I don't know. We probably won't ever see that, or we're just going to have to wait and see what happens there with that. For the record, I've played the Friday the 13th game. It's alright. I might do a video on it someday, but I don't really dig it as much as I do Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight it's fun. I lose a lot. I probably lose too much to be playing a game. What's the word? It doesn't do well for my self-esteem, but it does. You know, it's one of those paradoxical games. With that said, I know when Freddy Krueger first came out, you know, they nerfed him and like his abilities weren't all that great, and playing him just really was just kind of a bummer or whatever, but you're still Freddy Krueger. And let's face it, if you run into any of the survivors, you're gonna kill them, like, in a matter of seconds. I mean, they have no chance against you. You're Freddy Krueger, you know? So, we're pretty much just playing, what's the word? Squishies, as they say in, in video game fashion. Squishies. You know, you got your tanks, you got your squishies, you got your DPS. You know, we're just a series of squishies for, you know, the killers to run around and stab and impale and beat to death and catch in their traps. And I mean, I don't know how a game like that favors the survivors. If anything, I think it's kind of garbage that the Wraith can vault over things. You know, if you vault through a window opening, the Wraith can do that. He can follow you in there. That's not cool, man. That's not cool. He's already hard enough as it is to get around. The man can go invisible. Now, granted, if you're paying attention, you can see him. You will, you know, you gotta look hard, but you will see him. You know, you will make out his outline. He's like the Predator, if you will. You'll see him go, ooh, that would be really cool. Predator and Dead by Daylight, except you got Predator Hunting Grounds, which I may have to do a video on that now that I'm thinking about it too, because I kind of like that game as well. Decisions. I don't know if I'll ever get it all done. What am I supposed to do? So I'm running around trying to avoid Freddy Krueger, avoid the Wraith, avoid. They have the Shape on there. He's really cool. They have what's his name? I almost said Chainsaw Charlie, but that Chainsaw Charlie. They don't have Chainsaw Charlie. That's what I'm trying to say. that was a wrestler from back in the day. I don't even know what it is I'm talking about anymore. Leatherface. They have that dude. That's the one, right? His name's not even Charlie, I don't think. They have Leatherface on there. With their new release DLC, they have a knight, and that's interesting, man. You know, I'll say that. That's really interesting, the fact that they have a knight on there now that can run around and just end you. I'm going to be honest, I don't really buy a lot of the DLCs and do all the extra stuff. I don't sink lots of money into games, per se, simply because I came from a generation of people who used to play video games, and if you wanted to buy an expansion, you could. But the games pretty much came with these crazy things called unlockables, where you just played the game and eventually you could unlock cool new stuff. And I really, really missed the days before microtransactioning, you know? Now the video game sphere is just, you know, we're in the 9th level of the 9 hells, you know? And that is a microtransaction hell, you know? I don't really understand. I truly believe with all the money these video game companies make, you'd think they'd be able to afford to make finished games, for one, and two, not microtransaction us to oblivion. But you know, that is what it is. I'm complaining. I'm sorry. Let me stop. This video isn't meant to just be a rant about the evils of capitalism gone wrong. You know, despite what a lot of people may think, capitalism does do a lot of good, but when it goes wrong, it really goes wrong, right? So I'm running around let's get back on track. Running around trying to survive. And I want to talk about a few of my favorite killers to try and to avoid, to run away from. Uh, the first one is the Huntress. I like her. I like the fact that you can hear her coming from like a mile away, and even then you're not even sure until she's right on you. She's got this like lullaby that she does, and it is just so eerie. It's so eerie, and she can throw these hand axes at you, and you'll hear the humming, and then out of nowhere you're thinking, okay, it sounds like she's a ways away. I can still repair this generator, and that's the object of the game for you as the survivor. Repair 5 generators, get to the escape button, pull the lever, open the door, escape. That's it. That there is a secret trap door in the levels that you can use to escape through also, but I mean, unless you're just out there grinding like a sweaty kid, I don't, I've never found one. I mean, but I don't play this game constantly, so I shouldn't really quite say it's sweaty, but it's sweaty. It's so sweaty. So you open up the door and you escape. That's your objective. That's what you're trying to do. So I'm sitting there trying to repair these generators, thinking, oh yeah, get away, and whap. I mean, out of nowhere, here comes an axe from probably like 10 yards away, and it's wrecking my day already. I'm out. I'm trying to run. And if you get injured, you as the survivor, now you're bleeding all over the place. It's easier for them to track you. Which brings me to my next favorite enemy to try and avoid, my next favorite killer to try and avoid, and that is the Wraith. I know I was complaining earlier about the fact that he can vault over through windows and stuff, he can step through them, but I mean, honestly, Wraith, I don't know. I'm not saying I know the person personally who's playing these Wraith, the Wraith every time, but it seems to me that the Wraith has a dedicated fan base, because those folk take it seriously. I've watched some of the killers play pretty relaxed and kind of have fun with it or whatever. The Wraith, every time he's got a mission, and I just watch. You can see your fellow survivors, man. You can see their status, if they're injured or if they're downed or if they're impaled. And I mean, man, within like the first few minutes of starting a session, I'm just watching everybody just boom, boom, injure, down, impale, and it's like, well, okay, we haven't had time to try and formulate a strategy on how to fix these optimally optimize our ability to run around the map and fix the generators. We haven't had time to do that because the Wraith is already on it. And the reason why, me bleeding out and everything, it seems like a Wraith player, man, they'll find you. If you start bleeding, they will find you. That is the worst thing. That is the worst thing that can happen, and nothing freaks you out more than when you're trying to kind of stealth around, and then all of a sudden you see the Wraith's silhouette. Like I said, they can vanish, so you just see his silhouette, barely his outline, just go running by, and you stop, because you're screwed. You're screwed. If you saw him, he saw you. I guarantee it. Like, he's not running by you in that form for the heck of it. He sees you. Now he's toying with you. He wants to see what you're gonna do. He wants to see if you're gonna take him to more survivors. He wants to see all of that, and they're pretty difficult to overcome. Another one of my favorites is the Hag. I believe her name is the Hag. You have to forgive me if I don't remember all of these killers' names, but I think her name is the Hag, and she's got this ability that just freaks me out every time, man. Makes me jump every time she does it, where she can lay down like a part of herself or bits of herself or something, and actually spawn or scare you away from a spot. Like every time she hooks somebody and I go to like save them off the hook, uh, all of a sudden, boom! There's like a little hag clone that just bursts up out of the ground and goes and screams at you, man. And it makes my heart stop every freaking time. And and really, I don't know if that's her really like spawning to that point, or if it's just if it's a way of her alerting her, alerting her that, hey, there's people over here, come get them, you know. I don't really know how it works. I don't know the mechanics. Again, I don't play the killers often enough to really know how their powers really work 100%. I just, from a survivor perspective, I'm looking at it as, these are the things that make me pee my pants the most. These are the killers that make me pee my pants, because they freak me out every time. They get me with this crap every freaking time, and I can't seem to, man up and become a true adult. I mean, I have a daytime job. I work it. I mean, I pay my bills. You'd think I'm a man. You'd think I'm doing what a man is supposed to do, but I'm not. Because I can't even man up when a video game tries to scare me. Freaks me out every time. There's a lot of other killers on there. There's Freddy Krueger, I've mentioned. You've got Pinhead. You've got so many different kinds, and they all have so many different kinds of abilities and ways of just ruining your day. To be fair, now I said that really the game really is leans heavily towards killer advantage, but survivors do have abilities. They get equipment that they can use, and abilities on this thing called the blood web, just enunciate. The blood web, you spend your blood points on the blood web, and it will give you special abilities and stuff. Like the character I play, I think his name is Dwight. I believe it's Dwight, and I know there's a whole bunch of other characters I can play, so anybody listening out there, the second I mention Dwight and you're just like, oh god, I know, but I like him. He's like an underdog, and I just like the guy. He's got a lot of cool little abilities he's got that allow him pretty much to be able to like survey the entire area and almost know where everything is, from killer to survivors to and then like if the killer's coming towards me, it lets me know if the killer's a certain amount of distance away and they're even looking in my direction. They may not even purposely be doing it. They just may be looking in that general direction. I know. And it freaks me out every time, because then I'm like, oh, stop messing with this generator. Hold on, is my heart beating? No, okay. And then I get back at it, He also gives boosts to other people when they're healing or trying to repair generators. I mean, he's kind of got like a natural born leader, type of thing, because I guess he was like a dork who worked at like Shenanigans or something like that. I don't know. He did something. He was on a team building exercise or something and ended up, in the entity's realm, which here we go. Let's talk about this thing for a minute before we head out, before we call it a day. I'm going to tell you about the entity. You ready? Let me tell you. This thing will... I don't even know what this thing is. It just rips these people out of, killer and survivor alike. It rips them out of their own reality, plops them into this sick little game, and then demands sacrifice. That's all it wants. It's Cthulhu or something. I don't know. He's something. He's something sitting. He's one of the old gods sitting up there in his own little realm, and he's just telling the killers, bring me food, feed me. And that's what they're trying to do. To some extent, if I understand the story correctly, not all of the killers are subservient. Some are like in an agreement, and some are like working off a debt, and so on and so forth. So everybody's got their own little story as to why they're there, survivor and killer alike. And it's really neat. It's really well put together, and it is a fun game. And if you haven't tried it, I suggest you do. You know, you can get it on Steam. Well, I already told you where you could get it, so you know, Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, everybody, all the big names have it. You know, all the heavy hitters. So there's no excuse. Go ahead and try Dead by Daylight, and if you do, come back and tell me what you think about it in the comments. Till then, I'm Lord Pog, and this has been Lord Pog Gaming. And like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch you later. Bye.